And there is the James Scott Memorial Fountain here at Belle. That is made of solid marble, and it is beautiful. Of course, they had to turn the water down because with these 35-mile-an-hour winds, all the people in the suites would be getting a bath right now. But that's not going to happen today. Some of the troops that are here for the honor guard and the opening ceremonies, we'd also like to welcome all of our men and women in uniform stationed around the world. They're watching today's IZOD IndyCar race via the American Forces Network. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your service. As we get ready, there is Tony Kanaan. He is going to be starting 18th today, as he is going to be back in this 25-car field. Ryan Briscoe coming off a 5th-place run at Indianapolis. He's going to be starting in the 7th slot, Scott.
You know, it has some work cut out for him if he wants to stay up front because his car has not been that consistent possibly for him, but Team Penske will have a great strategy for him here today.
Dario Franchitti, we talked to the Indianapolis 500 winner, and he will start 14th. Still got the side effects of the flu, and you've driven with that kind of illness. What's it take out of you?
It's very difficult whenever you have that, and he mentioned before he feels like he's behind the car. You have to be up on the steering wheel around this circuit, especially because it's so difficult, and it's difficult when you are feeling ill.
All right, so now it's time to fire engines, and for the first time in 4 years, hear the rumble in the streets of Belle Isle. So the engines have fired and we're getting ready to go green, but of course during the week there has been some news off track as well involving IndyCar CEO Randy Bernard. On Tuesday, this is what he put out on Twitter, and he said, "It is true that an owner is calling others trying to get me fired. I have had several owners confirm this. It's disappointing." Now the owners and Randy met yesterday, and today Randy Bernard met with the media. Now there seems to be two schools of thought. One, that he should have kept it out of the media and behind closed doors. The others say it's a stroke of genius. Coming off a very successful 500, it put that one owner on the defensive.
Well, it's a bit of both, really, because he's fined owners for saying things on Twitter when he has not been happy. On the other side of it, we're all talking about it. It's out in the media, so I guess it's worked both ways. But I've been around the sport for over 20 years, and previously, the team owners were the ones that actually hired the CEO. Now it's actually the IndyCar series, and so Randy answers to the IndyCar series and the board of directors, not the team owners.
All right, so let's get back to the action on track, because as you look high above the island of Belle Isle, we are getting ready to go to race. And let's show you this track. It's actually 982 acres here on the island. It is the largest island park in the United States of America. And as we zero on in, there's the track, Scott.
Well, one of the toughest 2-mile tracks, as you heard all the drivers have talked about, because it's not a purpose-built track. We're in the park, and Elio's going to help us go along here.
So you get an idea just how tough this track is. Cars are out on course, scuffing in the tires. Let's show you the starting lineup across the top of the screen. And, of course, our pole sitter, Scott Dixon, his 18th career pole and first here in 2012. Let's go on board. We've got a total of 6 for you. It will be Charlie Kimball in the Novo Nordisk onboard camera. He'll be starting in the 20th position. And then it's J.R. Hildebrand with the National Guard onboard camera. And Dario Franchitti with the Firestone onboard camera.
And we're going to ride along there with Ryan Briscoe along the IZOD machine, the Team Penske car, and also his teammate Will Power, who will start second, driving his Verizon Penske car. Both have a great opportunity to be up front and stand on the podium today.
All right, well, let's get the latest from pit lane. Let's go to Jamie Little first.
Well, Marty, it has been a roller coaster week for Oriol Servia and the 22 team. After coming off a season-high 4th place at the Indy 500, yesterday morning in practice on cold tires, Oriol lost it all by himself, made heavy contact, as you'll see right here, with the wall. He took total blame for it, and you'll see he spins out, hits the wall. Heavy right front suspension damage as well as right rear suspension damage. The team went to work, got him back out for qualifying, but as a result, he qualified toward the back. But the good news for Oriol Servia, he's passed more cars than anybody else this year, 62, and he hopes to add to that number today. Rick DeBrule?
Well, for Roger Penske, this is not just another race. Yeah, he wants his drivers to do well, but just as importantly, he wants this race to succeed. He was instrumental in bringing back Indy cars here to Belle Isle. It was a way to help show that Detroit's coming back, being revitalized, and it's been done in typical Penske fashion, from the volunteer training to the track improvements. So you might say that no matter how his drivers do today, Roger still comes out a winner. Vince Welch?
Pole sitter Scott Dixon has been runner-up in 3 of the 5 races this season. But if he's to make an assault on a 3rd championship, he must win races. Dixon believes he's got the car to do just that here today. He'll start from the pole, Marty.
All right, thank you, Vince. Now, Alex Tagliani did not start. In fact, the crew has pushed the car all the way back towards the garage area, as there he is right before they get he's in last pit on first one in. And we get ready to go racing. We'll get you an update on what his problem is. This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button. It's presented by ESPN Deportes. Strap in. We're getting ready for 90 laps here. And the pole sitter, Scott Dixon, chose the inside as they come down through turn 14 here on the front straightaway. Green flag is not out yet. Now it is. Bit strung out near the back of the field, but up front, as you can see, a lot of slicing going on, and the dicing is in the 7 car of Bourdais. He manages to squeeze in a spot. This is now turn 7. Big bump here as they right there as they come off that corner, and it is Dixon up front, then Will Power, then Simon Pagenaud, E.J. Vizo, and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
In all that maneuvering going on turns 1 and 2, it looked like Justin Wilson got pushed out and slapped the wall coming out of 2. We'll have to get a report on that. Very strong runner here this weekend. Excellent road course driver. May have damaged his car. There he is on the right-hand side, I think. As we look at Scott Dixon now, who's just going to try and get into a mode, Marty, of setting down and running some laps, hitting his marks. Maybe trimming back the fuel to try and save a little bit of fuel. He knows he has Will Power behind him and Simon Pagenaud, guys that are very fast on road courses.
Let's update you. Alex Tagliani has gotten refired, and he is on the track right now. He is in 25th position, last car, 19 seconds behind the leader.
Now, when I spoke to Alex, he had a very strong car, qualified 3rd. Remember, they changed over from the Lotus motor to the Honda. His first road course race with the Honda power plant. He was very excited for the event here today.
Justin Wilson is in. What's going on, Jamie?
It is a flat right rear, according to the driver. They said, are you sure? Don't pit if you're not sure it's flat. They're taking it off. Now they're checking the suspension, and he's turned the car off. Justin Wilson, what a heartbreaker right now. Looks to be more damage than they thought. They thought they'd just escape with replacing the right rear. And you see the team going to work on the right-hand side, guys.
What a tough break. So you heard the call, a damaged upper wishbone. He qualified 10th. He was the defending event champion. He won it the last time here back in 2008. That's your leader, Scott Dixon. That's Will Power, Pagenaud, Vizo, Ryan Hunter-Reay. There's Ryan Briscoe, Elio Castroneves, the only 2-time winner here. And there is Dario Franchitti, and Franchitti is making his way towards the front. He's picked up 4 spots. He's up to 10th. It's Takuma Sato right in front of him. 1 week ago, these two were a lot closer than they are right now on the last lap.
Completely different circuit. Obviously, two road course experts. Takuma Sato coming out of Formula One, got a very late start driving in his career. Actually won a contest to go out there and get a school back in Japan. Got involved in the car, drove it for the first time because he won the lottery in the school, and then his motor racing career took off.
Justin Wilson has climbed out while we continue to watch the Sato battle with Dario Franchitti. What's going to be interesting is, of course, Sato drives for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing. And on Monday, Dario is going to be on David Letterman's show. And I have a feeling he's going to get a hard time from David.
Can you imagine? There'll be a lot of heated questions, I'm sure, towards him. Like, why'd you run my driver off the road? Although obviously Dario did. They had a great battle going into turn 1 on the last lap.
And put a period on it. Sato has said, that, you know, no hard feelings continue over. This is a new day, a new race. Right behind him there is young Joseph Newgarden, as he is in the 11th spot.
And Joseph not feeling well this weekend also. When I spoke to him at Indianapolis, he said, man, you're just in the car each and every day. Remember, he comes out of training cars and started off in go-karts. And for a driver that's moved up very quickly, only 21 years of age, I think that he's wore himself out through the month of May. And he said, I'm just getting used to driving these big cars. It's a lot of effort.
Well, let's pass along the problem for Tagliani. It was an electrical issue. He has managed to get up to 23rd position. He's gotten around Simona Di Silvestro. She's 24th. And, of course, Justin Wilson is out of this race already. In fact, Jamie Little has caught up with a disappointed Justin Wilson.
He has climbed out of the car, something they can't fix. What exactly happened on the start there?
Just with all the melee, got out there on the dirt and got really sideways and caught it, and then it snapped again, and I didn't catch that one, so I just tapped the wall. Pretty light hit, but obviously hit it the wrong way and bent the suspension, so disappointing weekend.
They had high hopes for this race, as you can imagine, Marty.
All right, a tough break for Justin Wilson because he did look very good during practice and qualifying.
And Marty, as you know, you and I drive around the course on a golf cart and watch the cars in turns, and you can tell the drivers that really understand how to drive this course and really understand what they want out of their car with setup, working with their engineers and their crew. And Justin looked like one of the strongest cars out there, no doubt. Unfortunately, he's now out of the event.
On board with Dario Franchitti. Checking in now with E.J. Vizo, who had a very strong qualifying effort, has led the KV Racing team this weekend. He's got mirrors full, though, of Ryan Hunter-Reay.
You talk about teammates, Marty. It's interesting to see that Vizo is up front and his teammates, Tony Kanaan and Rubens Barrichello, qualified further back. We've seen that with a lot of teams here this weekend when you end up having guys like Ryan Hunter-Reay for Andretti Autosport qualify up front and his teammates just having difficulty with their cars and qualifying further back in the field.
Kanaan's running 16th, Barrichello 21st. You're on board with Ryan Briscoe. While these guys continue pretty much in lockstep, there is your race leader. The 5th race Scott Dixon has led this year. The only race he didn't lead was Long Beach. We're going to go side by side, lap 6. on side by side. EJ Viso having a little problem coming out of turn 14, and he's got a real problem right now with Ryan Hunter-Reay all over him. They're working the race. That's turn 5 they're in right there. And you heard him say on the radio, really loose.
We certainly saw that. And with a driver, when it's loose, you cannot get your foot on the gas coming out of turns as quickly as you'd want. And usually it allows the driver from behind to get a better run out, possibly get a tow going down to the next turn. But he did a good job getting out of that turn there, not to get past.
And that last turn, turn number 7, they're going into 8 right now. And turn 14, that's where the biggest bumps are coming off the exit of the corner. And we've seen a lot of spins in that turn 14 area. All right, here it is, turn 14.
Watch, he comes out. Looks like he's going to get close towards the wall. Probably tightens the steering wheel up just a little bit. Look at that black mark on the road caused from tires. He caught it, and that's pretty difficult to do when you're going through there at 95 miles an hour.
Those two, turns 13 and 14 right there. And you can see that bump. It really destabilizes the car. They are very fast corners. Down the front straightaway. Tell him go ahead, push it a little bit, try and catch up to Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud's ahead of him in 3rd. Let's take a look at our race analysis.
Well, we know the 90 laps here would be the most punishing for drivers in 8-track this season, and the red tires and black tires, red ones, the red sidewalls, give you more grip. Obviously, you're going to wear a little bit quicker here. The black ones, they're certainly going to last a little longer, and teams are going to have to play the game what they do with that. Now, in the fuel analysis, it's going to be very interesting because everybody seems like they're in fuel saving mode right now, Marty, because qualifying speeds were about 1-0. That was some moving over, and now we're going to call that a little bit of blocking by Ryan Hunter-Reay, because Ryan Briscoe, who you were riding on board with, had already started to make the move to go down the inside. And it'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see if he ends up getting a penalty for that.
Did I hear somebody say I have damage? Let's go back and take a look.
Now watch Ryan Hunter-Reay in the yellow car starts to move over because he's looked in his mirror and sees Ryan Briscoe aboard the Hitachi machine trying to make a move and set himself up for outbraking the yellow machine of Ryan Hunter-Reay going into the next turn. He moves him straight over. Just some touching going on by the wheels, and I think that the rear bumper section of Ryan Hunter-Reay's car possibly has some damage. Vince Welch, you have more?
Well, from Ryan's perspective, they're not indicating he has damage, but they did tell him to turn it up to fuel mixture 1 and try to get past Viso. You showed Viso with that wide near spin, so they wanted to try to take advantage of the fuel mixture to get past Viso. Viso's very loose. If they can get beyond him, they feel like they'll at least avoid his issue, with me at least trying to fend off Ryan Briscoe.
Well, you brought up fuel, and it is a big issue here because we're hearing if you're running it full rich, it's about 23 to 25 laps, but it depends on how far you want to lean it down to see if you can make this a 2-stop race. Here is EJ Viso's radio. So there you can hear they're trying to get a set number to make this possibly a 2-stop race.
And you know, it's always funny because as a driver, I can remember always hearing the team management get on the radio and tell you,
well, we just got word from IndyCar officials. The race director has told the 28 car of Ryan Hunter-Reay, you are now warned. Any more moves like he saw earlier, and it will be over. Rick, what's going on with Barrichello?
Well, he's got some type of an engine problem. He's been saying that the engine has been running rough. They went to a different fuel mapping. It didn't help. Finally, they said, if you think you can't fix it, go ahead and bring it on in. So they brought it in. Now they're going to take it apart and take a look and see if they can figure something out that hopefully will get this engine running at least a little bit better. But right now, they don't really have an answer.
And so they're going to remain in pit lane for a while. As there you can see Ryan Hunter-Reay, as he has been told by IndyCar officials, no more blocks. Here is your race leader, Scott Dixon. He has led from the drop of the green flag. Behind him, it is Power, Pagenaud, Viso, and Ryan Hunter-Reay. here at Belle Isle, just outside in Detroit, and you're looking at Tony Kanaan. He has just made his first pit stop. Now remember, he started back in the field. Is this a little strategy here, Rick DeBrule?
That is exactly what it is. Obviously, they were a ways back. They figured the best thing they could do at this point, they've got Viso running up front. Look at that. He got a little squirrely coming out of there. They got Viso running up front. At this point, it was go off on a different strategy, coming a little early. You never know how the race is going to play out. This has been a good track and a bad track for Tony Kanaan over the years. He's won here, but he's also broken his wrist here and was out for 4 races as a result. So we'll see how this strategy plays out.
Back to the leader. There is Scott Dixon. Let's go up to speed with Firestone. And first up, it's Vince.
Scott Dixon in this race are playing out just as they had hoped. Other teams conserving fuel just as he is. Mike Hall, the strategist for Scott Dixon, told me earlier today, we know exactly what kind of mileage we get on every fuel setting. Things are going very well for the 9 car right now. Now the 12 of Will Power in a similar mode, also conserving fuel, easing out of the throttle as he heads into turn 1 and other corners. But they've told him that he is in good position to let it go and raise up that fuel for the final lap of the stint. Jamie?
Heck of a run so far for Simon Pagenaud, who's making his first start here in IndyCar. But he grasped this track. He raced here back in 2008. Says his car's pushing a bit on the high corners. Otherwise, he's happy. Rick?
EJ Viso is behind Simon Pagenaud. You've seen the adventures he's been having on the track. One of the goals to save fuel. You've been hearing Jimmy Vasser talking to him in his ear. And EJ is crediting Vasser's sound, the way he talks to him, for calming him down this year. The problem is, they're still trying to run that fuel strategy, but you can see that guy behind him who's all over him, Vince.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has been warned once by the series for blocking as he tried to keep Ryan Briscoe behind him. His team relayed that message to him. Right now he's turned up the wick and he's trying to catch EJ Viso for that spot on track. Marty?
Well, you guys were up to speed on the top 5 as we zero in on the 6th place car of Ryan Briscoe. We'll tell you that Marco Andretti pitted back on lap number 13. He has gone off sequence along with Tony Kanaan. Briscoe, you can see right there, he's 10 seconds behind the race leader. Behind Briscoe is Elio Castroneves, the only 2-time winner here at Belle Isle.
He certainly wants to climb the fence again, and he knows it's very difficult to pass here, so he'll be trying to conserve a little fuel, maybe stay out a little longer than the cars in front. Right behind him, the number 7 of Sebastian Bourdais. Now, this is a 4-time series champion, and a driver I think is one of the most talented in the series, Marty. Amazing ability of this driver to get everything out of the car.
And he's going to be sharing that car now as they're down to 1 car in that Dragon Racing machine with Catherine Legg. She'll be in on the ovals. He'll do the road courses. Takuma Sato in another blue and white combination. The MyJack number 15. You can see that he is 13 seconds behind the race leader, running in the 9th position. And his nemesis from Indianapolis still in 10th. Oh, and we've got James Jakes has turned 8. That's the end of the long straightaway, and he is in the runoff area there. So a tough break for Jakes. He was running in the 21st position.
Now this may be a local yellow only. That means just that turn is going to be under a yellow caution area. Means no passing going into it until you come out of the turn. If they have difficulties getting the car out of the way, then they may go to a full course yellow. As you see Scott Dixon right now coming through that area unaffected because the car is off the escape road.
And once he's out of that area, back to green flag. Here's what happens when you don't read the map.
Well, we know the map. Unfortunately, they're just a little bit too hard, maybe offline from what I saw. And you can see how bumpy the track is. Once you get on the bumps, you know the tire's going to lock up. You try not to do that. He just simply ran out of road before he get the car turned.
Jamie, what are you hearing about James?
Well, he had just radioed before he went in the runoff. He said, brake pedal, I lost it. So he's having trouble with his brakes, and that's exactly why he went to the runoff to save the car.
And street courses are not one of those places where you don't want to have brakes.
Especially in a situation with the walls looming on both sides like you mentioned here.
You know, but the walls also are a bit of a benefit.
This is what I love. They want you to go fast, Marty, but they want you to save fuel. and for Ryan Hunter-Reay, he hears that right now, and he goes, okay, all right, that's fine. And then you try a little harder, and you're trying to conserve fuel. It just doesn't go hand in hand.
James Jakes has made it back to pit lane. And let's get an update on E.J. Vizo. How about it, Rick DeBrule?
Well, just a moment ago, Jimmy Vasser came on the radio and told E.J. Vizo, let's go for it for a few laps. Turn it loose, see what you've got. So at this point, where he's been kind of hanging back and had Ryan Hunter-Reay on the backside of him, now they're going to see just how fast he can go. Up until now, it was pure fuel strategy. Now it's going to see what kind of speed he's got.
Well, this group has dropped 8 seconds behind third place Simon Pagenaud.
Well, and maybe trying to conserve a little bit more fuel than the group that's in front, but it was interesting to see Vizo accelerated away down the straightaway, and you can see it happening again here, but Ryan Hunter-Reay closes up under braking. Now, for a driver that gets to pull away in the straight, you have to keep that distance getting through the turn, and Vizo seems to get gobbled up right now under braking.
That freight train continues here at Belle Isle on the 2.1-mile course. There's your race leader. Dixon leads by 1.7 seconds over Willpower. Simon Pagenaud is another 4 seconds back as we're in the city of Detroit. It's Motor City, USA, and we're racing on the streets. Let's check the motorsports calendar because the NHRA Super Nationals, the finals, the Toyota finals today at 4:30 Eastern over on ESPN2. Our Eyes on IndyCar series goes to Texas Saturday 8 o'clock. The NBC Sports Network, our friends over there, will be carrying that race. Join the conversation on Twitter, Detroit, hashtag DetroitGP. Beautiful view from Belle Isle as we zero in down on the track and tracing our leader, Scott Dixon, 1.7 seconds. That's turn 14. He is flying through right there. And we talk about that wicked bump right at the exit. There is Willpower in second. Then Pagenaud is third. And fourth is E.J. Vizo. And boy, does he have everybody jammed up. You saw that it was Ryan Hunter-Reay trying to go underneath Vizo, but he did not get it done by the time they reached turn one.
And on the radio to E.J. Vizo was Jimmy Vasser a past driver and team owner for Viso, and he knows what he sees behind him. He tells him to get a little bit more of a gap, because if we pit underneath green, he knows that all those cars coming behind him have a possibility to maybe leapfrog forward during a pit stop. So you'll lose track position. Track position is key here if you want to try and run front. Now, I'm watching Viso definitely having problems with his car, Marty, because he gets up to the turn, he's not as fast through the middle of the turn, for instance, as the cars behind him. So that's what is happening. He's holding up that train.
And there goes Elliot Castroneves taking a look on the outside. He does not have enough of a run. He can't get it done.
And for Ryan Hunter-Reay, he's in a position right now. He knows that Elio's behind him, and Elio's going to try and take a shot at him. And if you look at Elio's left front nose, it looks like he's got a piece of something flapping in the breeze.
Well, we've got our second driver out of this race. Justin Wilson was the first, and it looks like Rubens Barrichello is out. How about it, Rick?
By with Rubens Barrichello, and you just had a lousy weekend for your first weekend in Detroit. Didn't go well. What put you out?
Well, if you find that after 19 years of Formula One, I had some bad moments, I tell you, this weekend has been very bad, and I'm so sorry for the guys. They've been trying so hard to change my car overnight, and we did a conquer something. For some reason, my chassis wasn't doing very well this morning. I was better, and on the race, I could see my pace picked up a lot. But the engine started to misfire. We still tried on the pit lane to do something, but it was all over, unfortunately.
So what's your impression of this track?
Well, I think it's up for a good race. I'm pretty sure through the years they will be able to do something with the bumpiness that we can be a little bit better. But the layout is fantastic. So Belle Island, it's good. I just hope that I could have a better weekend.
At least go through the whole race. Rubens Barrichello out, Marty.
While you were finishing up, we were watching some possible passing action going on between the two blue and white cars, and that was Sato. And there you see Bourdais right behind him. They got close, but couldn't get it done.
And Marty, anytime that you have a possibility of pass here, you certainly try. The problem is, it's not user-friendly for passing. So anytime you try to pass, it becomes a confrontational type of arrangement. And that's what happens when drivers try and make a move.
And let's switch this around, because Sato was able to get around. My two blue and white cars are getting me confused there. But yes, Sato did get the top, and he's now in pit lane. So, Jamie?
And you see Sato there made his stop, says the car is good. They're very happy being that this is his first time here. He wasn't real comfortable in practice. Good stop.
So he goes back out on track. This is on lap number 23. So that was what we originally heard if you were running full Rich, that you would be somewhere between 23 and 25. But this train has been going a lot slower than the guys up front.
Well, in that lap 23 or 25, it becomes a two-stop race plus a splash at the end. And right now, some maneuvering going on by Bourdais.
And so Bourdais ahead of the number 2 now of Ryan Briscoe. So a good move by Bourdais to pick up the spot. And here comes Briscoe right back. And you heard he has no more power.
Now they do have options on the steering wheel. Oh, and a move by Franchitti.
And it clipped his left front wing. So Franchitti trying to go around the slowing Bourdais. He has now been passed by several cars as they are losing more power. And there you can see the damage.
Now what we'll end up doing, see the wing is broken there. He will radio in and tell him if the car's ill handling. They're coming up to a pit stop here shortly, and we're going to watch a replay to see the maneuver. When a car comes out of the turn in front of you, expect it to come out at a certain pace. And when there's an engine problem and the driver in front of you is off of pace, you sometimes ill-time your move. And that's exactly what happened with Franchitti and his target machine. You can see that just a small amount of mistiming because he wasn't expecting Bourdais to be coming out slow. He wanted to make the move. Here we go. We're riding on board right now. He just nudged his left front wing to the right rear of Sebastian Bourdais. He has the momentum. He'll continue on through. But as I was mentioning, he will tell them in the pit lane whether or not his car is now ill handling. Coming up to some fuel stops here, Marty, they may change that front wing.
And with that rear wheel assembly area in the back, that kept that wing from cutting the tire on Bourdais' car. Meanwhile, E.J. Viso continues to hold up everybody behind him. James Jakes coming back out. Let's listen on Dario Franchitti's radio.
So there's your answer. He's fine. Did not really hit much of the main plane of the front wing. Just some of the auxiliary wings that are there. So in this particular case, it's not too bad.
Vince?
James Hinchcliffe said he wasn't completely happy with the car, but he thought that maybe they had a mechanical issue, so they just stayed with the chassis. No adjustments at all, just the 4 tires.
Helio Castroneves trying on the outside. Will not be able to get around Ryan Hunter-Reay. We can tell you Bourdais did make it back to pit lane. He is there right now. I'm looking at the left front wing on Helio's car. It also seems to be vibrating up and down, like something is loose on it. He's the 3rd car in this line.
Yeah, we saw that earlier. It's just dragging on the ground. So he's obviously hit some curbing or else hit somebody that we've not seen so far. Right now, look at this.
Viso tags the wall, but again, Ryan Hunter-Reay can't get around him. Briscoe takes a look as Castroneves is now right in front of him.
And this is where things happen, Marty, because for Ryan Hunter-Reay, he's getting frustrated right now. You have to keep patience on your side. He's looking for any opportunity he can. You can't pass in this tight stuff. He'll try and set him up going down the long straightaway, but patience is key. Frustration certainly is what he's feeling.
While all this is going on, we'll tell you Scott Dixon has put another second on Will Power. He has 2.2 in hand. Then it's 13 back to 3rd. Let's get an update, Vince.
Hey, that 28 of Ryan Hunter-Reay, you mentioned, Scott, patience. And Hunter-Reay told me earlier, this is such a difficult track to pass on. You've got to take your chances when they're there, but if you're impatient, it'll backfire on you. He's really in a tough spot now. They're asking him to save fuel, but also to get around Viso. Very difficult. Marty?
All right, let's go back and take a look at some of this action. And this is coming through turn 14.
Talk about how bumpy this is. He knows his car is going to get towards the wall. It hits it. So the question is now, will he pay the price later in the race? That's that left rear tire that takes all the strain around here, Marty.
Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti brings his number 10 all the way down to Vince Welch here on lap number 27.
Encouraging Dario to make sure he hits his marks. They are going to change the front nose. They're going to take a look at it. They're going to put on the red tires, the alternate tires as well. They had a nose cone ready to make the change, but the damage is not significant. So no changes, just a little front wing adjustment.
And that front wing they're adding, as Vince noted, is to try and help the car get some more front bite because the wing damage is taking some of that away.
Now, the first car there is Ed Carpenter. He is running in 21st position right now and is about to go a lap down because that is race leader Scott Dixon right behind him. It is allowing Will Power to catch up, though. Power has cut the 2.2 second margin to 1.8.
And for Dixon, he's got to do this perfectly. He can't put himself at risk. Ed Carpenter certainly will know via the radio that the leader is behind him, but he also has to make sure that he doesn't find himself putting himself at risk on the marbles and into the gray area, putting himself in the wall.
Yesterday, Dario Franchitti was not happy with Ed during qualifying. Here he goes. He's going to go around him. Ed gives way. Now, that is the front of the pack, but the really great racing is right there, and you can see how far back they are. He's out of turn 7. They're into turn 2. And there you can see Ryan Hunter-Reay with Helio Castroneves. And EJ Viso, we can tell you, has pitted along with Newgarden, Conway. And there is EJ. Rick?
EJ Viso brought it in. They made a slight tire pressure adjustment, and that was it. Now, originally, they thought they were going to go 25 laps. They ended up going 27 laps. The problem is that's not enough for them to go in that alternate fuel strategy and only make 2 stops.
Yeah, 28 laps. Now, remember, if you can make it to 30, you can turn this into a 2-stop race.
Well, you know, it's still a long ways to go, Marty. We end up having a yellow scenario somewhere around here, and if that's the case, that's the few extra laps that all these teams will be looking for.
The top 9 cars have not stopped yet. It's Dixon, Power, Pagenaud, Hunter-Reay, and Castroneves, your top 5. Graham Rahal who had to start 17th. He qualified 7th, but he had a 10-position penalty based on that engine problem he had back at Indianapolis. He had to serve it here. So he actually started this race back at 17th. He now finds himself 6th. Ryan Briscoe 7th. Oriol Servia up to 8th. And J.R. Hildebrand is 9th. Those guys have not pitted yet. And just then, here comes J.R. Hildebrand down pit lane. Jamie?
And J.R. Hildebrand is in. You see him working on the right side there. He was excited for today. They were very optimistic about the race car. Taking a little bit longer. Pretty good stop. J.R. Hildebrand is gone.
29 laps. That's what we're working on right now. And remember, we had 2 pace laps before we went green. So far, these guys are getting excellent fuel mileage. Ryan Hunter-Reay starting to open up some distance now that he finally has E.J. Vizo out from in front of him.
That group was going a little slower. We saw Dario duck in the pits a little earlier than this group. Great strategy from the fact that he knows that he was being held up, goes in, gets some service, gets back out on the racetrack, finds an open spot, and probably can run a faster race pace. We'll see how this all shifts out by the time everybody is pitted.
Simon Pagenaud has made his way into pit lane. Jamie Little.
And he said the car was going away. It's the worst it had been all day. Started out pretty good. He was happy overall. 4 tires. They filled it up with Sunoco fuel.
Working lap number 30. We also have Graham Rahal making his way down pit lane. So Kimball is also in. Rick DeBrule.
Well, Graham Rahal has a car that he really likes. He was the fastest in the morning warm-up. Been happy with the car. The problem is they had a 10-position penalty that moved them back into the pack, so they weren't able to be up front where they qualified. As a result, he's having to work his way through the field, but nice clean stop, and he's out with Sunoco fuel.
Meanwhile, we still have 6 cars that have not stopped. The top 6, Dixon, Power, Hunter-Reay, Castroneves, Briscoe, and Servia. They have not made a stop yet, and we're working lap number 31.
And you talked about Dixon, who's leading when his teammate came in. He's gone back out, and Dario is now turning laps almost 1 second faster than Scott Dixon is, who's at the front. Made some changes on that car, I'm sure, but certainly will be competitive here.
Franchitti running in the 12th position. There you see Ryan Hunter-Reay, followed by Castroneves, then the 2 of Ryan Briscoe. They're heading for turn 14. There's this huge bump right there. And here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay, as he is going to make his first stop. And also behind him is Briscoe and Servia. So the 2's going to hit it first. Rick?
Ryan Briscoe brings the car in, talked with the captain. He said no changes, likes the car the way it is. They decided to put on blacks, not the red. Vince?
It's the black primary tires for Ryan Hunter-Reay and a front wing adjustment.
And you also see Servia coming back out as well. So all 3 get their service done. What is the moisture I'm seeing right there?
Oh, that'd be just the water after fueling when they go and spray the side of the car, so that will go off very quickly.
Oh, and there. Graham Rahal sneaks underneath and gets around Ryan Briscoe.
Not much room between the cars there. Pardon me, that was nice.
And Briscoe's going to get passed again. That was James Hinchcliffe that got around him.
Yeah, when you come out and you've got fresh tires, they're a little cool. They are not up to temperature yet. We do not have tire warmers in this series, something that Rubens Barrichello found very strange, but it will take a lap or so for those tires to come up to temperature and maximum grip so he can get back up on the pace.
It's Oriol Servia right behind him. Briscoe 14th. 3-car Elio Castroneves is in pit lane. Jamie.
And they are going to scuffed reds on the front and sticker reds on the back. Elio happy with the race car. Remember, we thought there could be a little bit of damage. He has a little trouble getting out of his pit box. The front wing looks great. No changes.
Now remember, the rule requires you to run at least 1 set of fresh reds. They can't be scuffed, so they would still have to finish that requirement for at least 2 green flag laps. Our race leader is now in on pit lane. Long raid all the way down as he's heading down towards Vince Welch. Right now, he's got the lead, but he's going to surrender it here. Vince.
Going to fill it full of Sunoco fuel. They're going from the softer alternate tires to the harder compound primary tires. No other changes for the man who was the runner-up at the Indy 500. Will Power is also in. Power getting the black primary tires on as well. They're taking off the softer alternates. No chassis change at all for the 12 of Will Power. He and Dixon have been running 1-2 all day long.
And they come back out onto the racetrack, and they both made it 32 laps, including add on the 2 pace laps.
Very impressive numbers. But some of the best guys at saving fuel out in the racetrack by making sure you're soft on the throttle.
So Scott Dixon gets back out in front of Will Power. There is your top 5 at lap 33 at Belle Isle. Here at the Eyes on IndyCar Series at Belle Isle, presented by ShopAutoWeek.com. Good action as you see right there with Ryan Hunter-Reay, Graham Rahal, and James Hinchcliffe in the screen. That's 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're all chasing Scott Dixon. Let's talk a little NBA Eastern Conference final action. It continues on ESPN tonight. After a great performance in Game 3, Rajon Rondo and the Celtics look to even up the series. They host LeBron James and the Heat. Celtics Heat Game 4. Coverage tips 7:30 tonight on ESPN, ESPN 3, and also live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. There is Scott Dixon, and even with his pit stop, as we check our Firestone lap leaders, this isn't going to take very long, because even with the pit stop, he's led all 34. No one else has led a lap yet today. His lead right now over Will Power is 10 seconds.
You know, he did a great job on his in-lap, great service by the target crew, and his out-lap was impressive. And he now hears that Power's doing the same lap time that he is, and that's what he wants to hear. He wants to know that he can run as smooth as he is, hitting the marks, dialing back the fuel, trying to save a little bit of fuel. Going over that launch, as I always call it, through turn 2 is amazing. And Vince, you have more on Scott Dixon?
You know, what makes Dixon so impressive, Scott, is he had no longer gotten out of the pit lane and up to speed. He was immediately radioing into the team asking, what fuel mileage do you need me to make? And they told him, we're checking on it and get that number. He's always thinking. His team says he's driving as well as he's ever driven before. Remember, he's a 2-time series champion. That's quite a compliment for a guy that keeps getting it done, Marty.
All right, thanks, Vince. And boy, I'll tell you what, right now he's putting on a clinic, 10.6 seconds to lead. Now, Tony Kanaan is third, 13 seconds back. But remember, Kanaan pitted on lap 12, so he's got another stop in his future upcoming. Where is the closest battle on the track? Well, it looks like it might be right there. As you see, Joseph Newgarden is that second car in the screen. And he is chasing down E.J. Vizo. Now, this is a battle for 17th on the track. Of course, early in the race, Vizo had that long freight train behind him. And when he finally pitted, that's when it all broke apart.
And it looks like Vizo is still having some difficulties because it certainly looks like Joseph might be a little quicker in some of those sections and the tight sections, but you have to think about your pass. You have to set it up sometimes a half a track back before you can make the move. Like, for instance, for Joseph there, should have been setting up his car to be able to take a run down the straightaway and get on the inside of EJ.
Let's get more on Newgarden from Rick DeBrule.
Well, Newgarden has actually had kind of a rough weekend. He was very busy after Indy. A lot of traveling. Went to Milwaukee, then went to Iowa, came here. Ended up getting sick. A number of the people, including Sarah Fish's daughter, were sick this weekend. Finally, this morning, he was feeling good. The problem is he hasn't been able to get the car where he wanted. In fact, after warm-up, he said the car was worse. And you can see he's able to stay up with EJ, but not able to do much more.
And that's Mike Conway, the third car in your screen right there. He is running in that 19th position.
Remember, Mike's the one that had that horrific accident at Indy a couple of years ago. Is that
looks like
I think it is. Yeah, they repaired the right rear suspension that he hit on the start.
So Justin Wilson is back out onto the track. He is 23 laps behind. He's shown in 24th position. So the winner of the 2008 race here at Belle Isle said, let's go get him. Turn in some laps.
And the reason they came out, Marty, is that they're just going to learn about the car. They know they're not going to actually end up with a good finishing position, but because it's a brand new car this year, new motors, they're out there to learn about the chassis setup, about the engine, to improve it for the next street car race that they go to.
Well, I always loved Dale Coyne, his car owner. Remember when he won his first victory after like 19 years in the sport? And I asked, why? And he goes, because this is what we do. And that's why he's back out there. It'd be the same answer. There is your race leader. You want to see the gap back to second place. Now this is turn number 8, the long straightaway, and it is an eternity in auto racing. That is 10.3 seconds. And right behind the 12 is the 11 of Tony Kanaan. So Power's got his mirrors full, but he knows Kanaan's off strategy.
Well, the other side too is that Will Power, the 12 Verizon machine, has the primary tire on. You can tell that's because it's got a black sidewall. Tony Kanaan and the Geico machine behind him has the option tire, the red sidewall, which gives you more grip and makes the car go a little faster. So he might have a shot at getting past him here.
He's going to have... Yep, he's coming. I knew he was going to have to pit soon, and it is now. So Tony Kanaan peels off here on lap number 39. He got 27 laps, Rick DeBrule.
Tony Kanaan brings it in. We mentioned earlier he's gone on the alternate fuel strategy. As a result, he's coming in a little bit earlier. He's been hoping for a yellow, hoping for rain, hoping for anything. No adjustments on the car. Overall, very happy with it. Just got to get the Sunoco fuel in and get him out.
9.4 on the stop, so Tony goes back out. Meanwhile, it's been a comfortable Sunday afternoon drive for that man right there from New Zealand, as Scott Dixon, who finished second last week at the Indianapolis 500, now has a 10-second lead. It's been cut down by 0.4 of a second. Pagenaud is now third. He is 13 seconds back. We can tell you also, while all this was going on, Simona Di Silvestro pitted again. She made 26 laps in the Lotus. She's shown in 21st position. Whoa, no trouble for James Hinchcliffe as he is into the tires, and that is in turn number 6. And we may have our first caution, and it is. The caution is out. Full course caution here at Belle Isle as we are working lap number 40. Oh, and Takuma Sato is in the wall as well. Vince, what do you have?
You know, it's interesting. James Hinchcliffe had radioed in just prior to the accident that there was some debris on the track and that maybe he had hit it but wasn't sure if he had done damage to the car. Moments later, that was the end result, Marty.
Well, and James Hinchcliffe was the only driver coming into this race that had completed every single lap this year. That string is now over. Let's go back and show you what happened. Oh,
it just doesn't look like it's turning, Marty.
Well, it looked like the left front was up in the air.
See if we can see a different angle here.
This is Takuma Sato in turn 12. Oh, he hit the curb. Can't do that. So Sato almost at the same time in a different part of the track. Also safety crew on hand. Visor up. Hinchcliffe is out of his car.
So we had reports earlier that part of the track was coming up over there in that complex, and when I said it didn't turn, I'm only assuming that that stuff there got into the steering somehow, some way, and that's why he could not turn.
And there is another piece right there in turn number 13.
And it makes me wonder if Sato might have got some of that in his steering mechanism, and maybe that's what caused him to also go into the wall, Marty.
There's another section of this material. It's just not staying down.
Goodness, seen something like that in a long, long time. Remember, as you mentioned, we've not run on this course since 2008. It's not some city streets that are driven on each and every day. They've done a terrific job here refurbishing the Belle Isle circuit.
Well, race control is going to have to make some decisions here on what they're going to have to do. I mean, they've got some definite holes, and that's literally what sent Hinchcliffe's left front tire up into the air. And at first I thought it might have been a flat right rear, but as we can see, it's the piece of track that he ran over that literally launched him into the barrier.
Well, it's interesting because I'm sure the drivers were seeing this, and they had to have been radioing back to their pit box telling their management that the track is coming apart, which in turn would go back to race control. So they must have been monitoring this and watching this as the race was progressing.
So you can see some of the spots right there where it's come up there in turn number 10. There's turn 11. Here is 12. You know, going back to the Sato crash, he actually hit that inside curb. I'm not so sure. I don't see any of that black asphalt there.
But, you know, maybe something was in the steering for him not to be able to turn the car correctly leading into the turn and popping him up and over. We don't know. But, you know, it's interesting because these cars create thousands of pounds of downforce, Marty. So when they go around, they're actually like a big vacuum cleaner. So if there's some problems with the track, it will just over time create a problem that grows and starts to suck up the material that we saw.
Well, pits are open and several are going to come take advantage of it. As it is Marco Andretti. He had cycled his way up to fourth. It's been a very dismal weekend for Marco and Alex Tagliani. Jamie?
And Alex Tagliani, after having an electrical issue where he couldn't start his car at the start of the race, fought his way back up to sixth. They're changing tires. You see they put the reds on there, Rick.
And Marco Andretti brings his car in as well. He came on the radio just a moment ago and asked, is this a good move or a bad move for us with this yellow coming out right now? And Kyle Moyer, strategist, went, well, it's kind of 50-50. I'll explain later.
Well, we're working lap number 42, and right now any move Kyle Moore makes on that car can't be considered a bad move because, I mean, they have just not been anywhere close to the front. James Hinchcliffe still on scene as they're pulling his car out of the tire barrier. So we are under our first full course caution, and there is the material that has been coming up out of the track. We'll see what race control is going to do when we come back. Under our first caution, and that big lead that Scott Dixon had built up has evaporated as we look down on this 2.1-mile circuit on a very blustery day here in Detroit. How about Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN2? We've got a resurgent Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals facing David Wright and the Mets. That's at 8 o'clock. Then Monday night at 7 Eastern, Andre Ethier and the NL West leading Dodgers travel cross-country to the city of brotherly love to get booed by the Phillies fans. Jimmy Rollins and team going to take them on. Both games are available on ESPN3 and also live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. All right. We are under this caution, and as we've got a lot of questions as far as the track coming up, which why don't we get you caught up? First real chance, as we have completed 42 of 90 laps. So here's the Mother's Race rundown. And early on, it was trouble for Alex Tagliani as he wasn't able to get fired at the beginning of the race. And also, Justin Wilson ended up tagging the wall and bending the upper A arm, and you can see that. And then Dario Franchitti, as he was moving up, and there is where Justin Wilson actually hit the wall. You can see it there on the onboard camera shot. Then Dario had his own problems. His wing gets clipped as he comes underneath Bourdais. And then Ryan Hunter-Reay was warned for blocking on Ryan Briscoe. And we haven't had any incidents of that since. And then we had a lot of pack racing simply because E.J. Visa was so hard to get around until he finally slid up against the wall in turn 14. He ended up making his pit stop, and everybody got sorted out and started to haul the mail, so to speak. And then, as a result of the track coming up in turn 6, that was James Hinchcliffe as he goes into the barrier at the same time as Takuma Sato went into the wall over on turn number 12. So we're still waiting the word from race control, because you can see that is right on the race line. And as a driver, what do you think?
Well, as a driver, you shouldn't have to drive around anything that's on the race circuit, but drivers will be cautious if we do go back to green to make sure they don't put their tire over that gap that we have in the road, certainly because it could cut the tire. It'll be interesting to see what the decision is by race control here.
The truth is, if we get to lap 46 and complete it, this race would be official. We're still under the caution. We're still waiting for word from IndyCar officials as to what they're going to do as far as any possible track repair. There's James Hinchcliffe. We'll talk to him when we come back after this word from your ABC stations. Back here at Belle Isle, we are going to be coming up on a red flag situation, and there it is. Paul Blevins, the official flagman, has it out in hand, so everybody will make their way towards pit lane, and it will be at the completion of lap number 45, right at the halfway mark. Now, the reason, if you're just joining us, is because watch what happens here with James Hinchcliffe. You see part of the track is up there already. He hits it, and his left front literally gets launched, and into the tire barrier he goes. Now, here is another turn, and it coming up as well.
And a lot of this is in the fountain complex area, concrete, and they put in some pavement there to try and make it as a patch. But as we mentioned before, with these cars creating so much downforce, that suction underneath the cars, over time, it's probably just loosened that and started to tear that up.
And there is the fountain section that we're talking about. And let's catch up with James Hinchcliffe. Vince?
So we saw the end result, but take us through what's going through your mind as you see the debris on the track.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I've never seen anything quite like this, you know, and it's we saw it starting to come up early. They had the debris flags down in turn 5 and turn 9. These giant pieces of this tar have been ripped up. But I guess there was nothing they could do about it, so they just let us keep running, and it was like playing Russian roulette, and I just pulled the bullet. You know, I came through turn 6, and a new chunk ripped up, and it had a big chunk of concrete attached to the bottom of it, flipped under the front of the car, lifted the front wheels off the ground, and that was it. And they've been ripping out this tar now under caution. But when I came in the safety car, I got to tell you, I mean, the holes in the racetrack are enormous. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
How deep are those ruts when they pull that rubber out? How deep do those ruts seem to you?
They're about 2 inches deep and probably 6 inches wide. You know, they're proper channels now that are just in the racetrack, and they're obviously enough on the racing line. I mean, the lap before the accident, I'd actually hit a piece that Graham Rahal had kicked up and hit me in the front wing in turn 9, and you drive around turn 9 all around the outside. You know, it's a mess, and I feel bad for the GoDaddy guys, you know, because we got ourselves back up in the top 10. You know, we were working that 3-stop strategy, and it just sucks to be, you know. We pulled the short straw today. You know, I mean, obviously they got a situation here, but it sucks that it took us out of the race to really realize there was a problem, and bad luck, man.
James Hinchcliffe is out. Jamie Little's with another driver who met the same fate.
Takuma Sato worked his way up to 6, had a good day going, Takuma, and I know that was the same time as James Hinchcliffe, but what happened on your end?
It was difficult to explain, but it was such a high curve at the turn 11, turn 12, that I clipped the curve, and it was such a kickback, and I slipped from the grip, and I just couldn't get it back. So it's a really shame, you know, the way we finished. I mean, it was a difficult day. The car balance wasn't the way we wanted, but it's a tough day.
So you said you clipped the curb, so that was driver error on your part, but we're talking about the track right now and what we're seeing. What is it like out there right now as far as what's coming up?
Well, turn 6 was quite significantly coming out of I think under the concrete things, and also there is a turn 10 too. There's a few bits and pieces were flying over, so I don't know. I mean, we have to wait and see.
Another tough break for Takuma Sato, who, of course, everybody was talking about that last lap pass and crash at the Indy 500. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. And we're still waiting to hear more from IndyCar officials. There is our race leader. He has led all 45 laps, be it Scott Dixon. And right now, we'll just sort of go side by side and try and get some more information for you as to what we're going to do about this situation on the track. And you can see some of the crews out there inspecting. Tonight, TV's biggest reality show returns. Every week, see the entire journey of one person over 1 year for one incredible transformation. Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition. It premieres tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on ABC. Speaking of makeovers, we've got our own going right now here at Belle Isle. Let's talk to the man responsible. How about it, Rick DeBrule?
Well, standing by with Bo Barfield, who is the race director for IndyCar, and let's talk about the status of the track. How bad is it, and more importantly, can you get it back together?
It's not good at this point. Can we get it back together? We're getting an evaluation right now and should have an answer pretty quickly. I mean, we saw some delamination early on that was really some tar strips that looked kind of ugly, but they were soft enough that I was happy to just leave them out of the way and let the guys keep racing. But we started getting some big chunks out, which left some big holes in the track, which we definitely had to go down for and see what we can do to fix it up.
Now, obviously, there's been a lot of running this weekend. Is this just blind, dumb luck, bad luck that now is when it finally comes up? Or was it one of those things you knew there was going to be a lifespan on it?
I think it's kind of all of the above. That kind of material that they were using certainly has a lifespan there. And since we haven't run here in so long, I think it just kind of lost its grip and started coming undone. Since we basically rained out Friday, that didn't give us the opportunity to get as much fast, hard running on the track to reveal the problem that obviously exists.
How long do you go before you make a decision as to whether to keep racing or to call it quits?
I mean, it kind of depends on a lot of things, but I'd like to try to get a decision and see how much progress we can make in the next 20 or 30 minutes and have a final decision by then, but we'll see how it plays out.
Bo Barfield got some very serious decisions to make about the running of this race.
Well, Rick, here's an issue. This is Will Power's car. We talked about the debris. Look at the damage done to the front wing of Will's race car from hitting that debris that was on the track. And Will, how long ago did you hit that? Did you hit that just before the red was put out, or had you hit it a while back?
No, I think that was just before the red, actually. I felt something hard hit. A chunk of that, whatever that was. I thought it was actually rubber, but it's. I think it's like actual asphalt.
Under the conditions that you saw out there prior to stopping, do you believe that we could continue racing today?
Well, I didn't. I thought it was. If it was just rubber, yeah, I didn't think it was a problem. But from what I was told, those guys that crashed was because they hit a chunk of that stuff. So I don't know what they've got to do, but if they can get it fixed, I'd love to go racing.
It's Will Power. Marty?
And Will, being in second place, obviously definitely wants to go back to racing. Of course, the man who put this whole race together, he is very passionate about rebuilding Detroit and bringing it back from the economic downturn that it went through over the past few years. That is Roger Penske. Jamie Little is with him.
And this is his home city as well. We want to see it succeed. Roger, what are you hearing right now as far as the track is concerned?
Only thing I can do is what I can see on the TV monitor. Obviously, we had some of the spots come up, and obviously from a safety standpoint, we want to take a good look at it. The officials will make a call here. We've had a great weekend. I hate to see this stop in the middle, but, we've seen it at other tracks. I think we've got some potential material we could put in there. It'll take a little time to set it up, but I'm sure that Bob Harrington, who's probably the best guy in the business this year, will see what he says.
Now, you have 3 drivers out on the track. Did you guys hear anything about any problems with the asphalt coming up during practice this morning in the warm-up?
No, there was nothing during practice. I think it's because of the cars have got such suction from the underwings that they pull some of this up. But I guess what we have to do is just see what we can do to fix the couple of turns where we got a problem. There's an opportunity to put some plastic or some type of material in there that could cover up pretty quickly, but we'll have to see.
How heartbreaking to see this happen when we had a good race going, right?
Well, I think this is what happens in racing. There's always something. You saw what happened at Daytona. I guess it happens here, too. We didn't have a fire, but, overall, I think it's been a great weekend. I want to thank the media and thank you guys, obviously, and the drivers, the fans here in Detroit, and everyone around the world that supported us. This is a great weekend for us. It's a bump in the road, but we'll be fine.
Literally a couple bumps in the road, Marty. Everybody's hoping we get this thing back to racing.
All right, thank you very much. As you can see, that was Elio Castroneves getting a little potassium, and now there's Bo Barfield talking to the drivers. And obviously he has got a very difficult job at hand right now, halfway through this scheduled 90-lap race at Belle Isle. Back here at Belle Park, as the racetrack, as you can see right there, has been coming up, and it has put us under a red flag condition right at the halfway mark, and this was the last straw as James Hinchcliffe hit a piece of it, launching his front left wheel up into the air. He couldn't steer, and he ends up in the barrier, and you can see the frustration on his face, and you can see how easily it is now coming out as the safety crew has pulled it, and this is what they have to deal with. And the question is, and we're hearing from IndyCar officials, they're going to try and patch it. They're saying a minimum of 30 minutes. You think that might be a bit optimistic?
Well, we've got quite a few places. It's not just small holes or areas, Marty. We have 10, 20-foot sections, and they're going to have to repair that because, as Roger mentioned and we mentioned earlier in the show, these cars are like big vacuum cleaners because of the downforce. It'll just make the problem worse if we continue in the present form.
Will Power, Justin Wilson sharing a few thoughts. Let's share a few thoughts with the man who's led every single lap of this race today. There he is, Scott Dixon. How about it, Vinny?
Well, it's been a dominating show from Scott, and unfortunately now we're standing on pit lane. First of all, how about the track itself? How many different parts and places on the track did you see an issue?
There's quite a few, you know, and I was hoping for was to get our pit stop out of the way, because the last thing we wanted was the people that pitted early to get a yellow and jump us. You know, I feel so bad for everybody that organised the event. You know, it's just something that you don't expect. It's something that never happens, and it's pulled up, you know, probably 5, 6, 7, bit in 8, some on the fountain, and then also on 13. So there's quite a few spots where it's definitely quite bad. But I don't know what their plan is to fix it or how they're going to fix it. I hope they do, so we can put on a show for everybody. But I feel bad. You know, happy for Team Target. They've done a hell of a job. The car's fantastic, and you know, Honda and their fuel mileage and the power's been great too.
Yeah. How about addressing the car? You've been putting on quite a show yourself. I know you were trying to make a fuel mileage number early, but then when you put the power down, you guys looked extremely strong.
Yeah, it's nice to run and have something in the bag, and that's kind of how it's been, you know, today at least. You know, Will was pretty strong and kind of was yo-yoing behind us with speed, and we weren't really sure what he was up to with fuel and things like that, but we just kept our pace, maintained it, and then when we got a bit of traffic, we stood on it and opened up the gap. So I don't know, you know, I'm excited for the team because the car's so great, and obviously all the TCGR or CGR guys have moved up a chunk. Dario is sitting in 7th, so that's fantastic as well. So fingers crossed it's a good day for Team Target.
That's Scott Dixon. Marty?
All right, as you're looking at Scott, we might as well tell you the only Firestone lap leader all day is Scott Dixon, as he has led all 45 laps. How about the man who went off strategy, pitted early, Tony Kanaan, finds himself in 4th place right now, Rick DeBrule?
Yeah, but unfortunately had an up-close and personal interaction with the track. Explain what happened out there.
The concrete decided to hit me, and I was behind. I don't remember who. I think it was Servia and Kimbo. And all of a sudden, a big chunk of something, which I didn't know what it was at the time, hit my mirror, hit my head, and flew over the car. And it broke the mirror. And then next lap, I went by the same place, and I saw this big hole in the asphalt. So it's a shame. I mean, Roger put a great show. The fans are great. Everybody's here. But I'm a little concerned. It's not just one corner. It's 7 corners around the racetrack. But Roger and these guys, I mean, he's out there himself looking at it right now. So he will try to fix it, and we put the rest of the show on for the fans.
Now let's talk about the strategy that you had just employed, because you know you hadn't qualified that well. You were towards the back of the pack. You went off strategy. Explain what happened.
Well, we went off strategy right away to try to do something different. It's a difficult track to pass, and we definitely got lucky when we pitted and the yellow just came out. Now we're in the same strategy as everybody else, so sitting in 4th place. So you know, it was a shame because I think we had a better car in qualifying. We just made a mistake, like I told you before, and you know, I had a top 10 car. So now we're exactly where we want to be, and you know, hopefully we go race and you know, try to get to the podium.
And the good news is the cement only broke the mirror.
All right, thank you, Rick. Let's talk a little bit about Wipeout, and we're not talking about on the track. It's a show, and it's going to return for the summer. All new episodes begin with a battle between hotties and nerds. So this should be good. Thursday, June 28th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on ABC. From what we can tell, everybody has been able to refire engines. Now, we are being told there will be corner workers in 6, 7, and down in the fountain section to show the drivers on the first lap. They'll actually be out there to show them where the patches are. so that they get a good idea of which side they want to run on. Then we'll have another full caution lap without any of that, and then we'll go green. Vince, you're with Chip Ganassi?
I am with Chip Ganassi. Chip, have you been definitively told how many laps we're going to run here?
Yeah, they said we're going to go 60 laps, I guess.
So 60 lap will be the checkered flag. Are you comfortable with everything? Are you comfortable with everything that has happened leading up to this restart?
Well, I'm worried about the race right now, Vince, and getting the 60 laps, you know.
Thanks, Chip. Marty?
Waiting for Graham Rahal, and his car has stalled, so they quickly try and get him out, and they hook up the starter. Okay. From race control, we are being told it is still undetermined as to the final distance. So what you heard Chip Ganassi say is still not the definitive word. Graham Rahal still has an issue. And we have just been given the definitive word. They are going to stick with the 60 laps. And quite honestly, I think that's really a good decision.
I think it's a great call. Right now for Graham Rahal's team, they're asking for a different steering wheel. Electronic problem.
This would be a tough break for Rahal. He's 8th right now. They've got the backup on the wheel. That's about, what, $35,000 worth of equipment.
In this scenario now, obviously the car is not starting. In hopes of the new steering wheel, maybe there was the problem with, you see it actually shuts off automatically. So
all right, now there is Ryan Briscoe. We heard him discussing the tire situation earlier, to say the least. You saw the corner workers out there showing them exactly where the repair work is. Now those guys will leave when they come around. Now, do you think these guys are actually going to not take the normal race line?
well, I think that they'll be aware of it, but I think if it was me, I'd be driving over any piece of pavement I need to get past the car that's in front. And so you're hearing Roger right there saying that don't worry about fuel. Remember, everybody expected one more stop, Marty, so it's not wrong having the black tires on, because the red wall, the alternate tires have more grip. They thought they had one more stop, and that's when they would put those alternate tires on for the race to the end. Unfortunately, the end is coming up now.
And you can see with where everybody is when they stopped last, there should be enough fuel for everyone in that top 5 group to go the distance. Now remember, it's Dixon, Power, Pagenaud, and Kanaan on the blacks. Then it's Castroneves, Franchitti, and 6th. They are on the red, softer alternates. Hunter Ray is on the blacks. Rahal is on the reds, but you can see he's got bigger issues and worried about tire compound. Briscoe is on the blacks. Servia, 10th place right now. He is on the reds. And Justin Wilson, and look at the rain. All of a sudden, here comes rain into the equation.
Well, if we do go to rain tires, Firestone brought out their new rain tire. It's now an intermediate tire. As you can see, everybody's starting to put the Brawleys up to get themselves out of the rain a little bit.
And let's give a tip of the hat to the fans that have stayed through this 2 hours now plus. And there are the rain tires getting ready in Helio Castroneves' pit. Vince?
Right now down here in the Ganassi pit, and they are working feverishly to get these rain tires ready. Remember, they can run in the rain on the road and street courses, and you can see the biggest difference is the grooves on the tires as compared to the slicks. If they have to get out in the rain and run in the wet track, they'll put on these grooved wet tires, Marty.
Oh, anything else to make this interesting. We are a half lap to green. You can see the patchwork that is done in the fountain section there. There is turn number 12. That's where Sato clipped the curb. And they're calling for him to pair up. Double file restart. And we've got a light rain falling, and everybody's on slicks. Hang on. This could get
hang
interesting.
on. Turn 1, tires not really had the gel coat off them because they're all new. Drivers want to get to the front and win. 2 of your most road course specialist guys at the front.
Oh, and boy, Dixon really snookered Will Power, and Pagenaud took advantage and got underneath him. Little contact with Helio Castroneves a little farther back there. Power, he is in third right now. There you see Castroneves, Tony Kanaan right behind him.
Oriol Servia doing some nice passing. Marty, this is so difficult right now because the track is just a little bit moist, not enough for rain tires, very slippery. These guys are earning every dollar that they get right now.
And Dario Franchitti made some, and there goes Helio around. And he has taken the front nose section off, so the rain has made the track slick enough. And there goes another car, Ed Carpenter around. This at the exit of turn number 6.
Yeah, well, here we go. We got lots of guys spinning around simply because the track is so wet right now. Remember, the guys have the option of putting on the new tires. A lot of them did. That gel coat that's on the top of those tires doesn't get scrubbed off from that lap or two that they had when the track is moist. Very difficult right now.
No full course caution at this point. That's why you see these guys still racing. And now the full course caution comes out. Newgarden cannot get refired. Helio is in a precarious position. And what was slight damage on his wing is now massive. The whole wing or nose section is gone.
So you heard the pits were open, but drivers did not come in because track position is paramount here. If it was really raining, they certainly would have come in and put the rain tires on. You can see Helio, the back end, comes around just as he's coming out of the turn, slips around very quickly. Now, if it was dry, Marty, he probably would have been able to control that, but the thing would just snap around because of lack of adhesion with this wet surface.
And then here is what happened just at turn 7. Another view. There's Helio. And then watch at the end there is Ed Carpenter.
I don't know why Ed did that. That was he had clear track ahead of him.
Briscoe is in to change tires, and he is going to the Reds. Of course, he was involved in the incident in turn 7, so he had lost a lot of track position. Rick?
Yeah, when he was bringing it in, he said something's broke, and you can see on the very right rear they're working both on the suspension. They've also got a piece of diffuser that's apparently broken off. So they're sitting there trying to get back out, trying to get it as much as they can to get whatever position they can. He just came on the radio a moment ago and said, I can't believe they've done this to us. Very frustrated for that one moment they were going to go out there. And you can see them working on the suspension here at the very rear, trying to do what they can to get them back out.
Well, and Rick, it looks like at least here on the front straightaway, the rain has stopped. Is that the case down there where you are in the pit lane?
On pit lane, I'm not feeling any rain at this moment. It was starting to come down. I won't say heavy, but, big drops. But then just a few moments ago, it stopped.
So just enough to make turns 6 and 7 like a skating rink, but elsewhere on the track, not nearly as bad.
But it's the same for everybody, Marty. A lot of guys got through there without a problem. Obviously, some people had problems, and it looks like Ryan Briscoe got taken up in that. But interesting to note, with the damage they have in the car, Penske is ready with A-arms that are going to be bolted on there. They do this all the time. They have A-arms that are preset, ready to be bolted on, so the suspension has the same measurements on it. They'll have that changed very quickly, and then Ryan Briscoe will be back out.
Our camera operator in turn 13. Our camera operator down at turn 13 informed us it never rained at his location. Now there is Helio trying to make his way back to the pit. Jamie, what are you hearing?
Well, Helio Castroneves' team, they're on the radio talking to him. They said, bring it in. We're going to try to fix it. And he's able to drive it back. So they're hopeful they'll just take off that front wing and replace it. Meanwhile, the guy who hit him, Ed Carpenter, said the car feels okay. They said, if you think it's all right, stay out. There's 10 laps to go.
Well, Castroneves is now 17th, 1 lap down. And Ed Carpenter shown in 13th, still on the lead lap. In fact, the top 16 are still on the lead lap. Still under this caution, it is Dixon. Pagenaud now in second. Will Power third. And from the air, you could see on the initial restart, it was Dixon gave it a little squirt, then slowed down. Will Power slowed down, and then Dixon hit the throttle, and boy, Power got snookered.
And that's because exactly what the leader does all the time. Gas it, slow it down, then gas it again, because it throws the guy off behind you, and it certainly did that to Will Power.
After Power, it is Franchitti who has jumped up to the 4th position now. Servia rounds out the top 5. Then it's Kanaan, Hunter-Reay, Kimball, Vizo, and Conway. That is your top 10. And Elio Castroneves back out on the track. He'll be 1 lap down.
Now, Dixon's very cagey, as we saw in that restart, Marty, as you talked about him accelerating, slowing down, accelerating again. Another guy was Simon Pagenaud, a road course specialist. I'm going to be watching him on the restart.
Let's go on board and show you Will Power's view on the restart.
Remember, it's supposed to be side by side. Dixon's not left him any space. That's when he accelerated and stopped. And who came along behind him? And Power's going, I can't believe I fell for that.
And now from high above, this is the view we first saw. And heading down into turn 1. Look at Dario Franchitti on the outside there. That's how he got up from 6th to 4th. And get ready, because this is where things are going to start happening coming up into turn number 6. Watch Elio. This is 5.
So he's on the gas. It just stepped out a little bit there, and then as he goes out of view, he's already started to come around. Then all the guys in the back file through.
All right, so we didn't quite see it from our aerial. Okay, folks, anybody on ABC West Coast, if you want to see the end of this race, you're going to have to go over to ESPN News, as we're going to break away, and we'll see you over on ESPN News. And thanks for joining us. Sorry that it took so long and we had the delay, but thanks for sticking with us. And we welcome the West Coast viewers from ABC. They've joined us here on ESPN News. We have 10 laps to go right now. Scott Dixon is still your race leader. And behind him it is Simon Pagenaud, Will Power, Dario Franchitti, Oriol Servia, and Tony Kanaan. That is your top 6. Vince?
Marty, if there's one advantage maybe for the 4th and 5th place cars of Dario Franchitti and Oriol Servia, they're the only 2 on the softer compound red tires as we go back to green.
Bouncing their way down through turn 1. Still side by side. Dixon in front, and look at Dario Franchitti has shot up to 2nd. From 6th to 2nd through the 2 restarts. Pagenaud is 3rd. Will Power is 4th. Servia is 5th. Could we have another Ganassi 1-2 finish? They did it last week with Franchitti in front of Dixon. Whoa, look out. Vizo has turned it around. Turn 5 for the 5 car.
So, and he stalled the car right in the middle of the track. If they do not get him moved before the cars start to come around, I think we might be seeing another full course yellow, Marty, which leads to another restart.
Well,
more excitement.
Safety crew has not even gone out. They're still racing. That is turn 12. Nothing has changed up front. Same top 5. And now the full course yellow is out. Levin's arms are going to get tired waving all these yellow flags. Here we go again. Vizo, oh, he got punted.
Yeah, Marco was trying for the inside. EJ goes to go towards the center of the turn, towards the apex. He just gets spun around.
Right at the exit of 4, the entrance of 5.
That everybody else made it through there, Marty, is amazing.
Yeah. Let's go on board with J.R. Hildebrand.
Look how narrow it is here. Not much room to pass. Great move by JR. He saw that happening in front of him well in advance, got out of the throttle. Smart move.
And those brakes that Rick DeBrule was talking about, that's how good they stop. And there is the damage on the right front section of his nose. And Andretti right now shown in 9th.
mind that we have another yellow.
These restarts have been very interesting, to say the least. And Dario Franchitti's really been the best at it. I mean, remember, he was 6th at the restart after the long red flag period. And now he picked up 2 spots the first time. Now he's into 2nd. You're on board with him right there. He'll line up right alongside his teammate. And this could get very interesting heading to turn 1.
Oh, not only the front row with the 2 teammates, but also Pagenaud and Power, who are behind them, are going to try and make up time. You know, you've had a couple of restarts now, and you know that you've got snookered them both, and it's time for these guys to light the wick well before in advance of the green flag.
Trying to keep heat into the tires. 7 laps to go. Lights appear to be out on the pace car, yes, so they will form up.
And Marty, you had mentioned about how quickly Franchitti moved up here on that last restart. Remember, he has the alternate tire, the red sidewall tire, a little softer, more grip. And for Dixon, he's on the primary tire. So will this be an advantage to Franchitti on the start?
All right, let's talk about the Firestone track conditions, because there has been a big change in the temperatures, to say the least. Look at the start and where we are currently.
And this might play into favor to the alternate tire, because you can see we used to be at 94 degrees. Track temperatures now down to 82. So those primary tire, being the black sidewall, is a little tougher, a little harder tire. And that red sidewall tire, the alternate as we call it, it's a little softer, should give you a little bit more grip, especially when it starts to get cooler here. So the advantage might be to Franchitti.
We're going to find out, because they are making their way down through turn 8 now. And they'll start to form up when they get past turn 12. Besides Franchitti, 5th place Oriol Servia has the alternate reds. Kimball in 8th place also has the alternate reds. Everybody else in the top 9 is on the blacks. We're going to give you the high aerial view on this, because it seems to be one that you can see absolutely everything. Here they go. They're forming up. Dixon's on the inside. Driver's right. He slows. He gasses. Here we go. He got him. Dixon, master on the restart again.
Oh, Servia just getting in there, wiggling. That's your 5th car in line.
He managed to get the spot back. He lost it momentarily. Right now it's Pagenaud in 3rd, then Will Power in 4th, and there's Servia 5th. Tony Kanaan 6th, and everybody else coming through. 6 laps to go here at Belle Isle. Down the back straightaway, the Detroit River off to their left. And boy, Dixon has had a great race car all day long.
He really has. Even with the tires that should not give you an advantage, he is able to pull away. The cars look so well, and he's so strong all the time. Joseph Newgarden on the inside
takes the spot away from J.R. Hildebrand. Woo, what a move. On board with J.R. Newgarden's pulling away from him.
Oh, he had the back end of that car hung out when he was coming through the turn. Impressive run by that 21-year-old rookie.
5 laps to go this time by. And you can see that the top 5 is sort of spread out a little bit now. Taking a look on the inside, and awfully close. That was Marco Andretti holding on to the position. And Alex Tagliani trying to take it. Here comes Newgarden taking another look, goes up over the curb. Newgarden getting really racy here late in the go. Tags all over the 26 of Andretti. That is for 10th on the racetrack. Coming off turn 7. See what kind of speed they get going down this back straightaway. You heard him. Talking about the wing damage on Marco. He took a peek, but he can't get it done.
Well, Marco went down the center of the road into the turn, didn't really leave him a passing lane. Smart move by Marco. Newgarden's going to be back up behind Tagliani here very shortly. He'll probably be aggressive and try this all over again.
Through turn 12, heading for 13 now. Best battle on the race course. Here comes, and under braking, he gets him. Tagliani takes the spot away from Marco Andretti.
Now watch Newgarden probably will have a run out of 13-14 coming down the front stretch here. He'll try and get him on the inside of one. Marco probably will know that.
4 laps to go. He's got him. Move Newgarden into the spot ahead of Marco Andretti. 5th, 6th, 7th on your screen right now. You've got Kanaan. There is he. He's up there in the 6th spot. Ryan Hunter-Reay in 7th. On board with Charlie Kimball, who is running 8th. Mike Conway right behind him in the 9th position.
These guys are running laps right now pretty quickly. I'm sure their heart rate's going really hard because there's no conserving here. You're just flat on the gas as quick as you can go.
Down through turn 12 again. 22 is Oriol Servia. That is 5th place. He's got a mirror full of a freight train coming at him.
Remember, they joined forces with Panther Racing. Panther, Dreyer, and Reinbold have now joined forces and allowing Oriol Servia to get the Chevrolet motor, being now part of that team.
On board for a moment there with Charlie Kimball, his view out the back. While all this is going on, there is your race leader, still the same man from the start of the race, Scott Dixon. He's led all 57 laps. He has pulled out to that 2, maybe 3-car margin over teammate Dario Franchitti. Simon Pagenaud with another good run. He's looking at his 3rd podium finish this year. And Will Power in 4th.
And with Will Power going back to 4th, remember when we had that red flag, he was in 2nd. And with Dixon looking like he's headed towards a win, the points championship lead for Will Power was shrinking, and now that he's in 4th, it's even shrinking further.
It could be down to as little as 26 markers if it stays the way it is right now. This time by, there will be 2 laps remaining. Remember, it has been Team Penske on all 4 prior road and street course races. Right now, Will Power has the best shot for Team Penske, but he is in 4th and running out of time. You have 3 Hondas running up front: Dixon, Franchitti, and Pagenaud. They make their way through turn number 7. It has been a very long day for everyone. We had the 2-hour-plus red flag situation when sections of the track came up. And it has been a Scott Dixon day from start to finish. And remember, Dario Franchitti started this race 14th on the grid, and he finds himself running 2nd. He will be very pleased with this run, no matter how it ends up. If you'd have told him at the beginning of the race, you'll finish 2nd after starting 14th, I think he'd have taken it.
Well, he's done a magnificent job, especially in these last restarts that we've had, and that's been a bonus to him because he's been able to move up in each one of those restarts because he was prepared for the green flag, where the other drivers maybe were just a little bit asleep at the switch.
The white flag lap, it's going to be a wire-to-wire victory with a slight 2-hour delay in between for that man in the number 9, unless something unforeseen happens. Dixon skating towards a victory here in 2012 at the return to Belle Isle.
We talked about a 2-hour delay. Very difficult for these drivers to get back into the cars and turn their switch on to be able to focus here at high speed, just like they did when we started the event. But impressive what they've done here as athletes.
This could be, if he finishes it off, the first wire-to-wire win since Barber back in 2011 when Will Power pulled that feat off. Through the fountain section one last time, lights up the left front tire. He's got enough breathing room. He doesn't have to force the issue. Heading for turn 13. One more corner to go. Scott Dixon, for the 28th time in his career, is going to win here on Belle Isle in Detroit. More action behind us. Here we go through with the 22 of Serbia as he comes across in 5th. Kanan, Hunter-Ray, Kimball, Conway. That is through 9th, 10th place with Tagliani. And Scott Dixon salutes the crowd, those that stayed through the long delay, the corner workers for all their hard work. And what another 1-2 punch by Target Chip Ganassi Racing. This time, the roles reversed.
But I think also what's happened here is we've now seen Target Chip Ganassi serve notice that they're back on track. Maybe started the season just a little bit slow. Everybody's talked about Dixon, how quick he can go and how fast he is and just how focused he is as a driver.
Great run for Simon Pagenaud as he'll make the podium for the 3rd time, top 5 for the 3rd time this year. Let's talk to Mike Hall. How about it, Vince?
Well, the Dario Franchitti crew coming down to shake the hands of their teammates on the Scott Dixon team. And Mike, 3 runner-up finishes this season, a near flawless performance last week at Indianapolis, but still weren't able to get the victory. What kind of shot in the arm is it for your team to get the win today?
Well, it's what we get paid to do, first of all. It's great to win with Scott. We go back a long way together, and it's fun to win. And we've been really good since the beginning of the year, and it showed today. You know, it showed at Indy. It showed at the first part of the season. He does a heck of a job when he drives the race car, the Target car.
You guys did a great job again today. Sterling performance from the number 9 team, Marty.
It certainly was. And you know, it's the first time in history Chip Ganassi's cars have got back-to-back 1-2 finishes here at Belle Isle and a week ago at Indianapolis. And how about a little salute? That is Dario pulling up alongside saying, today, you're the man. And the car owner is with Vince. I'm sorry, he's with Rick.
Chip, this is the first time I understand your cars have had back-to-back 1-2 finishes. Congratulations.
Well, you know, there seems to be something when we have a problem with pavement, we do well. And with Jamie McMurray in Daytona and now here in Detroit with Dixon and Franchitti 1-2 is just fabulous.
You had a flawless run from Dixon, but what about that Franchitti run at the end?
How about that on those restarts? He was unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't believe it myself. I thought, oh, my God, are we in 2nd place? I said after the last restart. Yeah, because it's a different paint job I'm not used to looking at.
Once again, Chip Ganassi, very proud of his boys.
And the points championship is going to now narrow. Dixon is now 2nd, 26 markers behind. Castroneves will be 55 behind in 3rd. Dario Franchitti moves into a 4th place tie with James Hinchcliffe. They're 56 markers back.
Well, it's been a long wait for Scott Dixon, as we mentioned, 3 times runner-up this season. I know last week was a heartbreaker for you at Indianapolis, but you had to work overtime to get this one today. How good does it feel to win one here?
Oh, it feels great. You know, I think we got the short end of the stick last time we were here in 2008, and you know, I was just thinking the whole day today that we were going to have some more issues with the delay and things like that. And in the back of my mind, I was kind of hoping that they were going to call it. But then, you know, obviously we don't want to do that to the fans and not do the race. So sweet. That was sweet. A 1-2. Dario, I can't believe Dario came from 14th today on Detroit Belle Isle track and raced his way up there. So another 1-2 for the team 2 weeks in a row, which is fantastic. Big day for points, which helps us immensely for the chase on Will there.
How concerned were you on that final restart, 6 to go. Your teammate Dario's beside you with the red, softer compounds, and you've got the harder blacks.
Yeah, it was tough, and got to give a big shout out to Honda. They've done a hell of a job for fuel mileage, and the whole race today was so good because of that. But Dario, on reds, I was worried because he'd come from 6th place, and on the 3 restarts that we had, passed his way up to 2nd. So I was nervous, but I definitely wasn't going to go without a fight. So, just well happy for the team. It was a fantastic day, and I'm just really happy right now. It's cool.
Well deserved. He dominated today at Belle Isle, leading every lap. Scott Dixon is your winner. Rick?
2 totally different Ganassi drives today. You got your teammate, Scott Dixon, just runs away with it, and you're Mr. Excitement at the end. Talk about those restarts, Dario Franchitti.
Well, I had to, make up for the poor showing in qualifying because Scott has just done an awesome job all weekend. And, fastest in qualifying, just running away with the race. So I saw a couple of chances there on the outside and put the Suave car in there. It stuck and, got a couple in the first start. Then I was behind Scott, but he was just too good. So, hats off to him. A great 1-2, though, for the Target team. And I hope that was, I hope the fans that stayed around, there were so many stayed in this, with the uncertainty. Hopefully they put on a good show for them and they enjoyed it. Great to be back racing here in Detroit, and to get a 1-2-3 for Honda, though, is pretty special.
And let's talk about that track. There were a lot of questions when you went out. Was it okay the whole time?
Well, I figured it would last 15 laps. It's going to need some big work for next year, but the amount of work that Roger Penske, Bud Denker, and his whole organization has put into bringing this place back, in Belle Isle, you've got to take their hats off to them, and they're just going to continue to work at it. And as I said, we need to be back here in Detroit. It's the motor city. It's and we love racing here, and it put on a good show today, and so I'm very happy for the whole Target team.
Yeah, Dario, a very big part of that show towards the end. 2nd place. Jamie?
What a fitting ending to the day. The sun is out and so are the raindrops once again. Simon Pagenaud brings it home 3rd, but you were a little frustrated by the end call. What was it?
Oh, well, first I want to congratulate Honda. The reason I'm here is because they believed in me, and I'm proud to bring a 1-2-3 for Honda. First time this year here in Detroit. So, frustration is simple. It's, if we restart the race and change tires, why don't we all change to the same tires? Dario had an easy time restarting on the reds compared to us, but he did a tremendous job. I can't really complain, and it's raining like crazy now, so I enjoyed it. It was a good race. The team did a fantastic job, so can't be more happy.
Great job by Simon Pagenaud, who brings it home 3rd, his 2nd podium of the year, and it is pouring now, Marty.
Go get under cover, Jamie. All right. And Will Power, who finished 4th, and boy, am I glad we stopped when we did. Will Power now, as we mentioned, 26 markers ahead as he finishes 4th today. And as you look down through the points, let's also point out Oriol Servia, who comes home 5th. That's 2 top 5s in a row. 4th at Indy, 5th today. And there you see Oriol in the 10th position. Final thoughts there, Scott Goodyear?
Well, we've got a great run to the championship going now. Obviously, the 2 main teams in here with Penske and also Target Chip Ganassi, and I think we're going to see this throughout the whole year. And obviously Will Power, he was not the guy I thought he would be on the final couple of restarts, so I guess they might go back and do some homework.
Our next Eyes Out IndyCar Series race on ABC will be Saturday, June 16th. Will come your way from the Milwaukee Mile at 1 o'clock Eastern. We hope to see you then. Thank you so much for hanging with us. It was a long day, but boy, we really appreciate it. We know you're the solid fan behind this sport. Thanks for sticking with us. For our entire ESPN on ABC crew, I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again in Milwaukee.